how to recommend tire pressure, which data we need in the process of deciding which pressure is best one. First, we should know way of mounting. Single mounted tires, like here on the front axle, single mounted tires, that means two tires on the axle, or single mounted is also each of those axles on a trailer. Or if we have a vehicle 8x4, here we have a two steer axles, single mounted tires. All tires can be double mounted. Most of the time that is the drive axles for sure. That means 4 tires per axle. Or in 8x4 we have a 2 drive axles, that means 2 axles with double mounting. Second information which we need to know is the tire size and load index. Tire dimension is easy to know. It's written on a sidewall. 350/80 R 22.5. And load index. Load index in single mounted is indicated by the first part of number and load index. And in dual mounted is indicated by the second part of the load index. Let's take a look on this example. Single axle, load index 156. Dual axle, load index for tires 150. Now we know way of mounting, and we have a tire size and load index. And we need the inflation table recommendation from our company. And in inflation table is given recommendation for trucks, tractors, buses, trailers, and semi-trailers. Which data we can find in this table? First, you can find tire size. You can find load index in single and double mounting. You can find nominal pressure, and on this nominal pressure, maximal single axle load, and on same nominal pressure, maximum dual axle load. In the same time, in the same table, you can find at which pressure axle how much axle can carry. For example, in load index, when load index of tire is 121 in single mounted, at 5 bars, this tire can carry 2,430 kilos. Or same tire on a drive axle, double mounted, with load index 120. This tire at 5 bars can carry 4,690 kilos. On the same inflation table prepared by Goodyear, you can find some pressure influence on tire wear and some recommendations. Tire should be inflated to the pressure indicated in the tables in relation to the actual axle load. Tire inflation pressure to be checked at least 1 in 2 weeks. Pressure checks to be done on cold tires. And we should know that increasing of inflation pressure during the service is very normal and not be adjusted. Overinflation have consequences. Unbalanced wear, reduced penetration and impact fracture resistance, tendency to heel and toe wear, reduced driver comfort, increased vehicle damage, wear of suspension components, and broken springs. There is also higher risk of payload damage, and for sure, poor vehicle handling. When we have underinflation, also there are consequences. Unbalanced wear, higher fuel consumption, risk of compound reversion, bed area separation, and for sure poor vehicle handling. Now we have three things. We know way of mounting. We know tire size and load index. And we have our inflation table. What we need? Axle load. Axle load can be given from vehicle producer, or we can measure really on a field. And in the same time, we should to think about some special requirements. Vehicle producers give us information about nominal load per axle on a vehicle. In this case, this bus on the front axle can carry maximum 7.5 tons and 12 tons on the drive axle. Or we can go and measure a load. And that is most important, to know real one load on a field. How we do that? We should to have a plates for measuring a wheel and axle load. And we put that plates on a flat surface. After we measure loaded vehicle twice on two different surfaces in two driving directions. After, when we receive results, we are analyzing, and we are now should to know load per axle on a vehicle. We compare data with already data which we have from different databases. From our experience and from a lot of measured vehicle, we can say that overloading is not unusual. Like in this case on the picture, overloading is a huge one. And there are special requirements which we cannot forget. First, can happen that one side is more loaded because of road inclination, or truck is overloaded, or uneven distribution front loaded. Here, front axle is overloaded, or one side is overloaded because of uneven distributed load. We should not forget that longitudinal inclination can change load distribution rapidly. We should think about these special requirements when we recommend a pressure on the tires. Now we know double or single mounted tires. We know tire size and load index. We have inflation table recommendation from Goodyear. And we know nominal load on a vehicle given by vehicle producer, and we measured on a field axle load, and we know special requirements. Now we prepared to recommend the pressure. We know tire size, we know load index in single and dual axle, we know nominal load, but please do not recommend a pressure related with this nominal load before checking actual measured load. Can be difference. In this case, we have a special requirements because after measuring we recognize that second axle is already overloaded. And also we know that full truck is traveling downhill with 6 degrees of down on declining. That means that front axles are overloaded. With those information, we are now opening our tire inflation table. And we can see here that in single mounted 350 ATR 22.5 with load index 156 on single mounted, 8 tons this tire can carry per axle when inflation of tire is 8.5 bars. In the same time, dual mounted 150's load index. This tire with 8.5 bars is carrying 30.4 tons per axle in dual mounting. And we recommend for all tires and for all axles 8.5 bars. But not forget, second axle is overloaded and second axle need 8.5 tons. That means 500 kilos is overloaded. And that we can succeed on a flat only if we drive slower. That means if we drive 70 km per hour, we can give to our tires additional 7% of load. And we will reach, in that case, 8.5 tons. Also, we should to know that 6 degrees declining will overload front axle. In declining, we should to decrease the speed to 30 km per hour. Only that way we can give to our tires 25% more load. And now we recommended pressure. With good pressure recommendation, we will have a regular tire. We will take best performance from our tire. We will have a best tire mileage taken from our tire. Smooth ride, best traction, optimized fuel consumption we will have, increasing number of tire which are good for retreating, and for sure we will decrease breakdowns. Now we finish our recommendation. Follow the rules, and with these rules our tires will have a much longer life in exploitation.